Today in the Audio Hotline Studio, I have a very inexpensive USB microphone known as the Tonor TC-777. Doesn't 777 have something to do with, like, angels or something like that? Is this the angel of microphones? I don't know. Might be. Well, we'll find out a lot about this microphone, but first, let's get mic'd. Welcome all audio nerds to the Audio Hotline, and as I said before, we have the Tonor TC-77777 in the studio. It's actually just 3 sevens, but still, that's a lot of sevens. I know that I can ramble a little bit, and I know there are some tests that you don't necessarily want to see. You maybe came here to see something specific, and for you, my friend, I put some timestamps down below. Full disclosure, Tonor did send me this microphone so I could review it. So 2 things about that real quick. First thing, thank you Tonor for sending me this microphone. I really appreciate you guys helping this channel out, getting me geared to review. The second thing I want to mention real quick is when I get sent stuff from a company, it does not mean I automatically have to be like, oh, since I got this for free, I have to love it. Hell no. You know, I don't do the whole fake loving shit on the Audio Hotline. We don't do that here. I will always tell you my honest opinion of the microphone. I don't want you to buy a piece of junk. I want you to get a good piece of audio gear. But once again, thank you Tonor for sending me this microphone. I've reviewed a couple Tonor microphones on here, and I actually do think they do a pretty good job, and I do love the fact that they're kind of an inexpensive company that does try to compete with some of the bigger players. Like, for instance, this microphone is kind of supposed to be an alternative to the Blue Snowball. And it's actually pretty funny, though. When I got this microphone, I went on YouTube and saw some reviews of this, and every single one of them was like, Blue Snowball killer. It murders the Blue Snowball. And honestly, every review that I saw was pretty much just a straight-up love fest, which made me a little suspicious. I'm not trying to call anyone out or anything, but I'm just saying, if there's a review online that doesn't tell you one con to the product, it seems a little suspicious. But to be clear, I don't think the Blue Snowball is like a super hard product to beat, but the Blue Snowball Ice is actually $50, and this microphone, the TC-777, comes in at $40. So if this is a Blue Snowball killer, Blue Snowball killer, dude, murdered! Then that's cool. You could save $10. But we'll check that out, and actually I am going to do a little bit of a comparison between this and the Blue Snowball here in a little bit. But now that I've rambled on for a little bit, let's go ahead and talk about how I'm recording this microphone. Today I am using a MacBook Pro to record this in Logic Pro X. Also, I do have the input gain of this microphone set at about 50%. This microphone does not have a headphone jack in it, so I am monitoring it through the actual headphone jack on my Mac. I am using the provided pop filter right now, and speaking of provided things, let's go ahead and talk about what comes in the box when you purchase the Tonor TC-777. When you purchase the Tonor TC-777, you will get a desktop tripod stand. You will get a mini shock mount. It does look like a microphone clip, but it actually does have rubber bands in it, and it is in fact a shock mount. This will come with a very small pop filter, but not only will it come with a pop filter, it also does come with a windscreen. This comes with a permanently attached USB-A cable, and it of course comes with the Tonor TC-777 microphone itself. When it comes to the accessories included, it is nice that it comes with so many things. But with that being said, there are some definite cons here. I absolutely hate permanently attached USB cables. They can break very easily, and that's the thing that really sucks though, is if you accidentally mess this cable up, mic is broken. There's no way you can unplug it and plug a different one in. That sucks. When it comes to the build quality of the products that come with this, I would say it all feels pretty cheap. But don't get me wrong, this is a $40 microphone that comes with quite a few things, so I get that they had to budget. Oddly enough, the tripod desktop stand is pretty much like all metal, and this is definitely the best build of anything in the box. But I will say when it comes to this, probably don't use it unless you are just talking into the microphone, not moving anything around on your desk. And when it comes to the microphone build itself, it is plastic. Really plastic. I want you to listen to something real quick. I'm just going to touch the grill a little bit, squeeze it just a little bit, okay? Did you hear the crackling? I'm just going to touch the body real quick. Just squeeze it a little bit, okay? Cool. So I would say the build quality is definitely not super great. I would be worried like traveling or taking this microphone to different places. But if you're just going to buy it, you're going to get the shipment, and you're just going to leave it plugged in your bedroom, your studio, or whatever, it probably would be fine. Just be careful. But now that we've gone through some of the basics of this microphone, now let's go ahead and nerd out and talk about the specs. The Tonor TC-777 is a condenser-style USB microphone with a cardioid polar pattern. This has a sample rate of either 44.1 kHz or 48 kHz, and its maximum bit depth is 16-bit. This has a frequency response of 100 Hz to 16 kHz, a sensitivity of -38 decibels, an output impedance of 680 ohms, a max SPL of 110 decibels, a signal-to-noise ratio of 56 decibels, and this USB cable length is 1.5 meters. It's like a little bit under 5 feet. Sadly, this doesn't come with a frequency response graph, or I would show it to you. When it comes to specs, I don't feel like anything is super alarming, and actually 48 kHz at 16-bit is pretty much the standard. I mean, that's what the Blue Yeti can do, that's what the Rode NT-USB can do, the Blue Snowball, a bunch of USB microphones max out at that. The one thing I'm definitely not a big fan of is the permanent USB cable that is under 5 feet long. Well, now that we've gone through the basics and we got a little nerdy, now let's go ahead and get to the good stuff. Let's go ahead and start testing this microphone out. Throughout this testing, I will change between the pop filter and the windscreen and then neither, just so you can get an example of every way this microphone could sound. Let's go ahead and start with a proximity effect test. If you want to get really close to this microphone, maybe get some more bass in your voice, get that proximity effect going, here's how it's gonna sound. And if you want to get weird about it and use the pop filter like this, here's how it would sound. And here's how it sounds when I'm really close to the windscreen. Just fair warning, here are some plosives. Peter Piper picked a... Whoa. Peter Piper picked a patch of pickled peanutses. 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 If you want to pick this microphone up for YouTube gaming and you're going to be clicking on a clicky-clacky keyboard, here's how it rejects the sound. If you're going to be using a keyboard with MX Cherry Blues, here is how the TC-777 rejects that noise. Now let's go ahead and take the polar pattern test one step further with some white noise. Now, if you want to use this microphone for a podcast and you plan on doing some post-processing, here is how it could sound with no pop filter or windscreen. Here is how a post-processing test sounds with the pop filter. I will be using EQ and compression for sure. If I use anything else, I'll label it down here. I will not be changing the EQ from the original test without the pop filter, just so you can see how the pop filter affects the frequency response. And one more time, here is how a post-processing test sounds with the windscreen on. Here's how this microphone sounds about 2.5 feet away from me. It was a bit of a challenge with the short cable. I had to move the computer a little bit closer, but here is how it sounds, once again, about 2.5 feet away. Alright, now let's go ahead and test this microphone against the Blue Snowball Ice. Let's see if it's the Snowball Killer. I actually think the Snowball Killer is the sun. That was a bad one. Here is a quick sound sample of the Tonor TC-777 without the pop filter. I won't be using a pop filter with the Blue Snowball Ice either. Now here's a quick audio sample of the Blue Snowball Ice. I actually have the gain set up to about 72% now, for this microphone to be even with the TC-777. Oh my gosh, did the Tonor just murder the Blue Snowball Ice? Here's another example of the Tonor TC-777. Now once again, here is a quick example of the Blue Snowball Ice at the same distance away from my mouth as the TC-777. And one last time, here is the last sample of the TC-777. You go ahead and decide which one you like most. Now once again, here's an example of the Blue Snowball Ice's audio quality. Well, now that we've gone through the basics, the specs, and we tested this microphone out, now let's go ahead and get to my review, my opinion of the Tonor TC-777. During this review section, I'm not going to be using a pop filter or a windscreen. I just want you to be able to hear it if you decided to angle the microphone so your air goes past it rather than right into it. So here's an example of that. When it comes to microphones, I will say that I am definitely always kind of rooting for the underdog. And by that, I mean that I'd root for the company like Tonor to come up and show the Blue Snowball Ice who's boss. I'm always really eager to try those microphones out. In all reality, though, I'm not really a big fan of the Blue Snowball Ice. Like, I understand why people like it. I understand why people buy it. But overall, I think that there are actual better options out there for around $50. Samsung Q2U. So the idea of a microphone coming out that's $10 cheaper that could be a better option than the Blue Snowball Ice, I really love the idea of that. But in reality, it's hard to make a USB microphone for $40 that's going to sound amazing. With what Tonor had to work with in the price range that they were trying to hit, I feel like they did a pretty good job. So some of the cons that I would say is that the build quality is definitely lacking. And honestly, at $50, I will say that the Blue Snowball build quality is far superior to the TC-777. I've literally dropped a couple blue snow balls on the ground. Hi, I'm 7 years old. How are you? But I have definitely abused some blue snow balls. I need to stop. This is bad. I've definitely beat some up, and honestly, they just keep working. Even though they are kind of a hard plastic on the outside, they just last. And a big bonus of the Blue Snowball is that you can actually play catch with it, you know? Can't do this with that. Another really big con of this microphone is the permanently attached USB-A cable. Like I said before, that just really sucks. I wish that this was a detachable USB cable. And speaking of the cable, I wish it was longer. 5 feet, I just don't feel like is enough. This pop filter, I actually thought did a really good job. It rejected plosives very, very well. But there's a con here. I do notice that this pop filter seems to kill tone. It definitely takes off some of that high end, but it also kills a decent amount of bass as well. Now, when it comes to the pros of this microphone, I will say that the price is a pro. For it being $40 for this style of microphone, I think that's very appealing to a lot of people. I do feel like the windscreen is actually pretty solid. It kills a little bit of tone also, but not nearly as much as the pop filter. Now, even though the build quality of some of these products aren't great, I will say that it is a pro that it includes everything you essentially need. It is good that this microphone can do 48 kilohertz at 16-bit. That's pretty much the standard, and that's nice. Now I've stated some pros and cons, but let's talk about the one thing that is the most important. Let's talk about the sound of this microphone. So when it comes to the differences between this and the Blue Snowball Ice, I will say that this microphone just kind of has a little bit more mid-range in it. I do feel like the Blue Snowball Ice kind of has like a little bit more of a scooped sound. Some people might like that more, some people might like this more. I do feel like overall, if I was going to use post-processing on it, it'd pretty much be a tie between the Blue Snowball Ice and the Tonor. But a very big thing, though, is I've had this microphone set at 50% gain this whole episode, and when I had the Blue Snowball in, it was like over 70%. So this definitely has a little bit more gain to play with, and I do feel like this has a better noise floor level. But here's the big question, though. Should you buy this microphone for $40, or should you save a little bit more money and get a better microphone that has better build quality and has better sound? If it were me, I would save up my money a little bit though and go for something a little bit better. But if you like the tone of this and you want a microphone for $40 or under, I do feel like this is a pretty good choice. Now finally, the grade that I give the Tonor TC-777 is a C+. Now for people that don't know my grading system, a C+ is pretty good. A C means that this microphone is good, it's worth the money. It's average. Thank you all for watching this review of the Tonor TC-777. I hope that it helped you out, helped you decide whether you want to get one of these microphones or not, but most of all, I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for a lot more microphone reviews and audio related stuff and things. And once again, thank you, Tonor, for sending me this microphone for me to review. I really do appreciate that. And thank you all for watching the Audio Hotline. I'll see you audio nerds next time.